So I would go ahead and say Wu Tang, MF Doom, Busta Rhymes, Missy Elliott, Black Star.
Okay.
You know, Wiz just on the sense that I never would have rapped if I never experienced that moment.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but yeah, those would be the people predominantly that inspired me. Outkast.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The other thing that we have in common too is that I worked security at Three River Stadium before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Landmark.
I don't know if it was Landmark. I forget because it was right after I got out of service, so it was like 90, 91.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, working security at a stadium. I mean, it can be cool, but it can be a lot of shit too.
Yeah.
Because like at the time the Pirates were pretty good, but I was assigned to after the game to walk the players through the car.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, that was cool. I got to meet a lot of players. I don't know if you remember. There's a pitcher by the name of Doug Drabeck. He was like one of the main pitchers for the Pirates, and I saved this kid's life one time because he's walking with his son, and his son just started sprinting across the street, and I went and I grabbed him because the car was coming. You know, but I mean, like I said, it was cool, but it wasn't worth the money. You know.
Yeah.
The money wasn't worth it.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
because I got to meet people and stuff, that wasn't putting money in my pocket.
Shit, we didn't even get to meet anybody. It was there, and we're there for hours, patting people down, busting the sweat, just doing the same motions over and over, snatching people's beers and shit. When you know it's expensive as hell, and you're like, you kind of
it was a $17 beer.
Yeah. Like, I didn't run into any like major incidents. Like, I broke up a couple fights.
Yeah. Did you happen to work any concerts?
No, never a concert. Like, the contract with Army ROTC at Pitt was just predominantly Steelers games, the Winter Classic for the NHL, and I think that was about it.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. So, Wu-Tang, Black Star, I can somewhat see here to influence a little bit, but what do you think? Like, if you could have what you wanted from music, like you say, I want this, what would it be? Would it be get signed by a major label, get financing to do it independently, or like how would you want like your dream to achieve what you want musically? How would you want to do it?
If I had a choice,
yeah, if you had like
you know, it's hard for me to think about choice in my circumstance being an independent, like as is. I wouldn't shy away from a major label. I just wonder if my soundscape is something that they would actually be interested in. You know?
Yeah, I feel you.
It's really hard to gauge. So that caught me off guard. Like, wow, like what would I expect? Like, if I could expect anything from music, I would hope to like one day pursue this seriously. Like, if someone
like
could if someone could show me these are the steps you are supposed to take if you wanted to gain like monetary value from doing this, then I would hang up my day job and I'd be doing this all day, all the time, no matter what.
Yeah.
You know?
Because see, I tell people this because I mean I've been doing this for 20 years, and I tell artists this: if you can make enough money making music that you don't have to work a 9 to 5, and all you do is make music, you made it. Man. You know, everybody's talking about, I want to go platinum and world tours. I'm like,
I can't even fathom that shit. Like, I'm in the projects, like, what?
You know? But if you can, like I always reference the Lux. Because because Styles, Jada, and Sheek Louch, like, they've been doing this for years. And that's all they do. You know, like, they get book shows, has the Locks, they get book shows individually, they drop projects together, and they drop projects individually. So they make enough money that they don't have to work a 9 to 5 job, that they can create businesses in their community. And like Jada was like, he's like, I sent my kids to college, you know, I got a nice house, I got businesses, you know. That's all you really need.
I'm not looking for overinflation of value. You know what I mean? I don't need a lot of money to go. Okay, I'm here now. You know, how much money do you need before it's like, well, I have everything.
Yeah,
What else am I gonna do with it?
Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, like going multi-platinum and being super famous would actually be a pain in the ass eventually.
I could imagine that.
You know, can you imagine not like, because imagine Jay. He can't just go out and go to the store. You know, he can't do that. He can't go to the mall. I mean, he can, but he got to have security. You know, somebody's probably has to
have though. Like, I don't know. Like, you're kind of a target, but you're really a target of admiration.
Yeah.
So I don't know. From my perspective, like getting up and going to work every day and feeling a little underappreciated, like trying to give away free beats to niggas, and niggas won't even click on your shit. I don't know. I think I would take all of that in stride.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, I could deal with it.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the easiest way to say it.
Yeah, I could deal with it, but I wouldn't ask for it. You know, I could deal with it, but that's not something like the fame and stuff. That's not something I would ask for. The money I would take, definitely.
I think anybody would take the money off the rip if they had the option.
Yeah.
But I think you kind of gotta deal with a little bit of the bullshit that comes with it.
Yeah.
I'm just fortunate enough to come from a background that was already rough as is. So when if I ever had the risk of dealing with any of that stuff, it'd be like, this is amazing. Like, what would I have to complain about?
Yeah, no doubt. Well, why don't we play some music and we'll come back and chop it up some more.
Absolutely.
Anything you want to play first?
Why don't you play that new one, Inhale Exhale?
Okay. Maybe I might have saved this wrong because I got Amsterdam is Everything.
Oh, Amsterdam is Everywhere. You can play that.
Okay.
That's cool.
And then I'll download it Inhale Exhale because I have it, but I just don't have it. Death Structure. Amsterdam is Everywhere.
Be productive.
Well, I'm ready. Let's go.
Get high, but be productive. Shit. Be productive. Grab an F and grind it. We gon' roll a couple deuces down the sativa side. We in the ride. Baby, line up for the key high today. Changing on vibe, baby, clouding up the atmosphere. Just take a look around you. You'll see Amsterdam is everywhere. You know why I ain't talking coffee, cause I'm talking about the sticky that I have you buzzing. I really mean a deep combo you may have. Really slowly unwind, put away your troubles. This the time we take to thank the one above for what we got. Even though it ain't much opportunity to give it thought, just taking the cruise. Got your image of the city, elements composing the mood. The streets and sidewalks, the trends and the general places we move through. Beyond the boundaries, but real them perceive over the districts we bound to. To the nose surrounded by landmarks, we just taking in the field. Where we live a daily and we care. Time and place and benefit the destinations, feeling anywhere. Changing our vibe, baby, clouding up the atmosphere. Just take a look around you, see Amsterdam is everywhere. Breathing in these fields, I roll up papers, bruising bits of time. Taking in the views, elevated, building on the state of mind. Changing our vibe, baby, clouding up the atmosphere. Just take a look around you, see Amsterdam is everywhere. Okay, we chillin', smoking, cruising, coolin'. I think about the bittersweetness of our lives at the lows, the bills, the stress, the ills. We dodge the dip, dodging the strife. We attempting to strive. Is it really living if we simply survive? Your dreams to be content, we're getting by. We work for a chip, but can't afford joy in our entire lifetime. Today we celebrate. I be rhymes we want with nature. Bumping soulful music, old school reggae by Molly and the Wailers. Man, I swear that I never seen the sky bubbling so blue. Cause God on his bar, so they draw for little trees. We got repeating the views. Add a little color to the gray when I got too introspective. Reflecting all my life and purpose in the world. I stopped at an intersection. But clean out my thoughts when the people with me said don't mess up the rotation. Puff and pass, bro, it ain't that deep. We smoking tree, the weather on high degrees. And in the breeze, a tank full of gasoline. We just taking in the field. Where we live a daily and we care. Time and place and benefit the destinations, feeling anywhere. Changing our vibe, baby, clouding up the atmosphere. Just take a look around you, see Amsterdam is everywhere. Breathing in these fields, I roll up papers, bruising bits of time. Taking in these views, elevated, building on the state of mind. Changing our vibe, baby, clouding up the atmosphere. Just take a look around you, see Amsterdam is everywhere. We living in a world in which the red light district is international. It's on the internet now, blood off and back pages. Shut the holes up, I done heard they pop up on Instagram. Wow, vices that we have as humans really done in darkness. We all know that Big Brother watching, they mostly indifferent. We're working up orange just to go home and find someone that matching, cause everybody's smoking. The plaintiff, the defendant, the lawyers, and the judges rolling something. The police writing tickets, architects, engineers, and doctors choking. The notion's so provoking. It stirs imagination, thinking of all the people that be blazing. I wonder if they hot boxing hard, puffing inside their bib too. Got it in rotation, negativity is subdued. Riding around their city, watching groups that they conform to. Get so elevated, got the sights to see on plan view. Taking in the beauty of where we live with daily and we can. Time and place and relevant and destinations fading anywhere. Changing our vibe, baby, clouding up the atmosphere. Just take a look around you, see Amsterdam is everywhere. Breathing in this world, rolling down the screws and passing time. Taking in the views, elevated, building up the state of mind. Changing our vibe, baby, clouding up the atmosphere. Just take a look around you, see Amsterdam is everywhere.
One Live Radio DJ, good night. Death Structures, Amsterdam is everywhere. Okay, so I think I understand what the song's about, but tell me.
It was supposed to be my weed song, you know?
Okay.
And I just kind of thought I think it's a subject that everybody touches at one point. I almost feel as if every artist does at least one weed song.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of the instrumentals I actually didn't do myself.
Okay.
It was by Dream Life through gjail.com.
Okay.
For a long time, I couldn't afford to get production from other people, and that's what inspired me to start my own.
Okay.
So I would listen to a lot of people's production and try and see what I could learn or gain from it. And I heard this beat, and it was like, no matter what, I'm going to get my hands on it. And it's just kind of where...
Like you just knew you had to spit something.
Yeah. It was just like, it was such a smooth beat, I had to get my hands on it. So I figured out a way, and I just kind of rocked out with it.
So, do you have influences as far as production?
There are people I like, but I don't necessarily know if they inspire me.
Uh-huh.
I don't. There's nothing complicated to how I do production. I don't use a keyboard. I don't use a drum pad. Like I had those things, they were stolen.
Yeah.
So it's literally been a mouse and a keyboard, and it's like I get a vibe off of something. It's almost like a high.
Yeah.
And it'll take me somewhere, and that's just kind of where I go with it.
Okay. So, when you first started rapping, did you automatically, like, how long between you starting rapping and you starting to do production?
I would say maybe about 2 years into it.
Okay.
Things started getting expensive.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And as of that point, as an artist, you can always look back on your movements and kind of laugh at the many missteps that you take.
Yeah.
But back then, I thought I was hot shit, and I was just like, well, I want to do this. And it's like when you see how much people are charging you for their service because they have to eat too.
Yeah.
It kind of like makes you reevaluate your approach to it.
Yeah.
And that's when I got FL and decided, I would play around with it and see where I can go.
Mm-hmm.
And for many years, I didn't have confidence in the stuff that I would make. Like, I'd make beats and I would send them to one person here, one person there, and I wouldn't really get anything back.
Yeah,
not even to sell, just to, here you go,
Yeah, let me know what you think.
Yeah, nothing. And it was kind of disheartening, and it wasn't until, I would say, last year, that things really start to pick up production-wise. I got my hands on the Nexus 2 VST, and I figured out through FL, like, there were certain bits and pieces that I was missing.
Uh-huh.
So throughout the years, I would have instrumentals that I would build and just leave alone because it was like, oh, I'm missing a sub. I don't know where to get subs.
Okay.
And I would have to learn elements of musical composition and how to actually put together something that was worth listening to.
Okay.
Man, once I got my hands on some final things last year, I was good.
Yeah. Because like I said, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I've noticed that I can see the difference between when an artist is rhyming over other people's beats and then artists rhyming over their own beats.
Really?
Yeah, and it's usually to the better when an artist starts making their own beats.
I've heard that from engineers.
Yeah, because you know, like when you created something, you kind of know where the pockets are and where you want to. Like it's easy. It's kind of like easier for you to ride a beat. You know.
Exactly.
You know, it's like I would equivalent it to riding a bike that's on a path that you built. You know where the nooks and crannies and the jumps and stuff are. You know, whereas if you're just riding on a path that you don't know, something could pop up, and you might not be able to ride the beat right, or you know it might throw you off, or
right.
You know it's just different.
Beats from other people do take a little longer to kind of finesse in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's interesting that you brought it up that way.
Yeah.
Like I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But so 2018 is about to be here. What are your what are your plans for the year for 2018?
I have a couple things. I was working on a little project. I want to see if I can finish it up and push it out there. Initially, I had a title and artwork and all that fancy stuff, and I noticed that throughout this year, there's been a bit more growth than usual because I'm back into the swing of things. You know, you kind of blow the dust off of yourself, and you know, certain things kind of change.
Yeah.
You know, so getting that out there. There's one thing that kind of occupied my time over these years. I swear I have a reason for not like rapping consistently all these years. A couple of years ago, I got the idea to, instead of create an album and sell it amongst the sea of music and competitors, to create a third lane by designing a video game.
Okay.
And incorporating the soundscape of the video game with hip hop music. It's a game based in hip hop.
Yeah.
So that's what I was working on, but like team members are really hard to get a hold of. I've gone through like 4 artists to this date. I might go through another one. My mapping artist, my mapping / pixel artist, he's going through his own personal problems. So that leaves me, the artist / person who's fleshing out the storyline and the characters and things of that sort. And my sound engineer, Joey, shout out to Joey on the beat, by the way, he will mix all of my stuff down. Yeah. You know, he's also going to be responsible for recording the voice acting from the game. Okay. But this has been a very monumental task, and I started to get concerned as the years went by, because it was like, I'm treading water now. And it's like, as much as I have an excuse of getting older, you know, like, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to sustain this before I have to give it up. Yeah. Because it's just not being seen through. Or try and pursue music in the hopes that I can get people to gain interest and double back and finalize the project. Okay.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Well, what's the premise of the game?
It's a role-playing game, an RPG. It's based in like high fantasy, and at the turn point of the game, turns into a sci-fi game. Oh, okay. The premise of the game is basically the events within history if the roles were reversed between black and white people. So, in the game, there's a sci-fi element in the sense that I use the sun as an overpowered excuse in the way that they do anime and manga, how you exaggerate. And I made it a situation in which people of lighter skin tone, no matter what their demographic are incapable of walking out in broad daylight. Whereas people with higher levels of melanin are capable of way more. Yeah. And as such, power has shifted throughout the world. That is going to be the backdrop of the story. Okay. You know? Okay. So there are going to be events that happen in the story that are hauntingly familiar, but the roles and perspectives are kind of changed. Yeah. So that's where I was going with that.
That's dope. Did you catch Tails? Irv Gotti has a show on BET called Tales, and it's based on hip hop songs. So like the first one was "Fuck the Police," NWA's "Fuck the Police." Now what they did is in that episode, which he directed, they flipped the script because everything white police are killing black kids. In this, black police are killing white kids. And the whole fuck the police thing is like the white people and white kids are like fuck the police because black police officers are killing white kids.
Exactly.
So they flipped the script, and they flipped the script on it, and it came out dope. Like the music, like they got licensing for the music, so fuck the police and the music's playing. But the whole premise of flipping the script is something that threw me off at first, but it was dope how it came out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like one of the things that I was doing throughout creating the story for the game is finding ways of incorporating prominent figureheads in hip hop and having them as like little Easter eggs. Like for example, the first dungeon that you run through in the game is Lamar's Dam. It's a hydroelectric plant.
Okay.
Like, you use like the waterfall like generates electricity.
Kendrick Lamar.
And another dungeon was the Andre Mountains after Andre 3000.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how I came up with like little things here and there. Yeah. Like characters will have names that are like very similar because I didn't want to get sued,
Yeah.
I had to try to find ways to finesse this.
Yeah.
One of the biggest inspirations for like approaching it the way that I did was actually an anime. It's called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The creator of the series used elements of rock.
Okay.
And would name enemies and moves and things of that based on music from that genre. Okay. So I thought it was amazing. It was like, well, why couldn't that occur with hip hop?
Yeah, that is dope. I had because like I think along the same lines as far as like hip hop and comic books and things along that lines. And I had an idea for a comic book / like movie, kind of like The Matrix. And basically what it was is that like you go through life and like once you figure out the secret to life, you die. And like so it like Biggie, Pac, they figured it out, and that's why they were taken out. But most people going through life don't figure it out because they're in the Matrix type of thing. Okay. So like there's people who know about like that the Matrix, like the world is not real, and pretty much it's just like the people who are sheep that follow mainstream media and never question anything. But I just think that the media of comic book, graphic design, like graphic novels, can be used to communicate more educational things to wake people up.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Whereas right now music is pretty much been dumbed down for us, and that there's no message in it. So I'm thinking like not only put it in the music, but put it in the media and the comic books, and especially for like I've worked in, like I said, I've been doing this for 20 years, and like in 2010 we did something called the Hip Hop Academy out of Community Empowerment Association, and basically what the Hip Hop Academy was, kids would come after school and they would get tutored, and as long as they maintained their grades and they could participate in the Hip Hop Academy. The Hip Hop Academy was my man Akil Asun was the engineer, and kids would learn how to record. They'd learn how to use Fruity Loops.
Oh wow!
They would learn how to DJ. They would learn how to do radio. They would learn how to do graphic design. They would learn how to do video photography.
That's amazing.
And
it's
then
like raising the next generation.
Yeah, and then we would also expose them to American Gangster, not the movie, the TV shows.
Oh, okay.
So like Mutulu Shakur, how he related to Tupac, and how Tupac was influenced by Mutulu and things along that lines. So what I've seen, because like I had a class that came through, and there was a class before I got there, and a couple people in the class before I got there, like I got to know them, and I've seen how they were influenced musically, and not only musically, like they went on to, like one went on to go to college, graduate in business, go to Full Sail, get a master's in artist management. Oh, now he works in iHeartRadio.
Oh, that's what's up.
The other dude went to the Army and got out the Army. Now the Army's paying for him to go to Full Sail to learn computer animation.
Nice.
But because they went through the Hip Hop Academy, like even when my man that was in the Army, he was still making music, doing photography, shooting videos, graphic design, building websites while he was in the Army.
Right.
So I can see how and have proof how a project like that can influence a kid.
Absolutely.
On what they're eventually going to do. And if we get them in junior high school, because most of the time by the time a kid's freshman, sophomore, it's kind of late. They're already influenced by their peers.
Right.
You know, but if you catch them in junior high school, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, they're still open to be influenced. Right. So that if you get them then, they'll be like, it expose them to all different genres of music and stuff like that, how to create shows, how to, you know, basically the industry of the music. You know, a lot of people want to be a rapper, but they don't know the business of the music industry, and that a rapper is really the last person you really want to be in the industry because they get paid the least.
Yeah.
You know?
They also get paid last.
Yeah, exactly. You know, because you know for yourself that your man at the studio gets paid every time you go. You know, somebody's going to do some graphic. Well, I mean, you do graphic design stuff yourself, but you know, if you needed if you needed somebody to do a CD cover for you, they're not gonna. You got to pay them to do it. You know, so if you need somebody to shoot a video for you, you got to pay them to do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Lately, I've been getting quotes on what videos would cost and things of that sort. So it's like, once again, like I run the risk of running into a scenario, but I'm not too worried about it because money has been more consistent for me than in past years. You know? Yeah. Like I'm a little better in that aspect. So a little strategic planning here or there, I can make some stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a couple of people I can introduce you to that will do videos really cheap.
Okay.
Because I've actually worked with one of the guys, Devin West, and a young lady by the name of Tara Jackson. They both do videos.
I'm familiar with them by name.
Yeah, and they're both artists. So like this year, we went to the Thrival Festival, which is a music festival that's held out at a place called Carey Furnace in Rankin. And basically what the Carey Furnace is like, it's a national landmark. It sits on 470 acres. And it's the last furnace from the steel mills from back in the day. And they do tours there, you know, up to where retired steel workers talk to people about what the furnace used to do and what it used to be like to work there. Now, I found out about the spot because they also do an urban art tour down there. Like for a while when it was closed, graffiti artists used to go down there and they would tag the furnace and stuff. So
that's hard.
So what they did is like they didn't want to exclude the artists, but they don't want them to paint on the furnace. They gave them areas around. Because like I said, it's 470.
My ability to be paid, but I split the revenue 50-50, and he still feel like a nigga owns something. I still feel like he ain't gon' shoot at nothing. So as far as I'm concerned, his ass burner, focus on my business. He was a shitty brother. I get bought out by people that look like me too. Crabs in a bucket syndrome, many lessons I learned because I've been around the gauntlet. True American gladiator, people with my own as the world watches intently. Unless you like you pushing a Bentley, and if your ass isn't blind in the times that you live in, you see that there isn't that many. I know myself the bullshit. Screed raping all 25 till the fire pin was useless. Wipe the prints and threw it away in pieces. I said, wipe, you can't get ruthless. Never the one you rob or extort, you find me to find solutions. With no compensation, black Michael Clayton, many nigga owe me favors. Finesse me for assistance. Swear they kept it 100, but the stories they make up inconsistent. But swing a little hand Hennessy, just got a sack of loud. Finna rotate on this blunt, then we gon' get blown down too. I ain't gonna knock you if you do the blow. But for me, it's marijuana has a systematic load. Swig a little Hennessy, just got a sack of loud. Finna rotate on this blunt, then we gon' get blown down too. I ain't gonna knock you if you do the blow. But for me, it's marijuana has a systematic load.
Dev Structures, MHSL. You know, just right now, I figured out what that stands for. Because I had no idea, and then I'm listening to Marijuana High, Systematic Lows, MHSL.
Yep.
So like, what brought about the song?
Well, as of this point, it almost seems redundant to say that weed is probably going to be like my forever backdrop. It's like the music that constantly plays in the background of my life story. Mm-hmm. So I'm always around it. I'm always involved with it in some aspect or another. But when I was like kind of like coming up with how I was going to approach this song, first of all, I have the utmost respect for the Big L Jay-Z freestyle.
Okay.
Like, I actually would play it just as a part of my morning routine for a long time.
Yeah.
The beat came from Roscoe Wiki. It's one of the only 2 beats in which I actually didn't do myself.
Okay.
When I heard it, I just had to, but the vibe of it was like, if marijuana is a consistent backdrop to the majority of people nowadays, we have to kind of come to the conclusion that there's more to our lives than weed. Like, it's okay to identify it, but there's more going on, So when I kind of approached the song, that's how I wanted to go about it. I spend my time going to work. I work with predominantly white people, so the vibe is different. You get off and then you double back to Northview, and then it's like, mode switch again, so that's where a lot of that came from.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I know I can relate because, like, in March I'll be 25 years sober from not drinking.
Oh, really?
And the way I've maintained not drinking is by smoking.
Yeah.
You know? Because I figured out at the age of 24, and matter of fact, the place I used to drink at and hang out is out this way. It's a bar called The Hideaway. And the last time that I drank there, last time I drank was there. And I sat down and drank $30 worth of 75-cent drafts. Didn't even bother to figure out. Didn't even bother to figure out how many beers it was. I was like, I'm done. So, and this is the thing too, though, because like, I was supposed to go see Tribe Called Quest that night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was supposed to go see him at this spot out in North Oakland called Graffiti.
Okay.
And I never made it. I ended up passing out at some girl's house behind the bar. Meanwhile, my girl was at home, like, where the fuck were you at? So, I came home, I was drunk, I passed out. I'm like, I'm done. I'm like, I'm going to quit drinking and quit smoking. And that lasted for about half an hour. I'm like,
everybody has a vice.
Yeah,
you can't just get rid of all of them.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm going to quit drinking, but I'm going to smoke. Because I looked at it this way.
Wise choice.
I was like, if I spent that same amount of money that I spent on drinking, if I would have spent that on smoking, I would have went to the show and I would still have weed left.
True. Yeah, you would.
Yeah, you would. You spent $30 because like I said, this was like 20 years ago and shit. So, 25 years ago. It'll be 25 years in March. So, $30. I could have got a
bigger back then.
Yeah, I could have got a nice eighth for $30. Smoked, went and enjoyed the show, and then come back home, smoke some more, and it'd been all good. But the one thing I did realize though is that being the stuff that I wanted to do is that I still hung out in bars though, because that's what I noticed. Like a lot of people who quit drinking, they won't go out, or they'll only go to like events that are based around not drinking.
Oh, okay.
So like you got to change your whole routine up, and all your friends, You know, if your friends drink, you can't go hang out with them no more.
That's what it sounds like.
You know, so what I did is I would go, I just wouldn't drink. You know, I would, like if I felt like I needed a beer, I would drink a non-alcoholic beer.
Oh, okay.
You know,
okay.
And then like I'd say, oh, come on,
like duels or something.
Exactly. That was my shit.
I feel
you know, and then eventually it got to the point where it's like, I'm paying the same price for a beer that's not really beer. I'm like, I like the taste of it, and I did. I like the taste of beer, but I'm like, no, that's not worth it. So I'm like, I'll still hang out. I'll just drink a Coke or a Pepsi or whatever.
Right.
You know, but the whole thing with weed, and even back then, when I did this, I would tell my friends, I'm like, weed is natural. It grows. Yes. God created it. You know, like you don't have to do anything to it. You don't have to process it or anything. You know, it grows. And you can smoke it.
Yep.
Plus, it's healthy for you. Like it does stuff. Like it's now we know it's medicinal.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Then we didn't know it was like medicinal. I just knew that if you drop a few seeds in the ground, put some water on it, give it some light, it will grow. You know, which is natural.
Right.
So I would always push my friends, like they're like you're drinking. I'm like, that shit's gonna fuck you up. Like you know, it's gonna fuck your liver up. You're gonna have
zero fatalities of marijuana.
Exactly.
Like when it comes to like my life, this year I was diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Okay.
I have a lot going on to where it's like weed kind of like helps round the edges. You know, like naturally what I'm finding nowadays is I don't have much of an appetite by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like in order for me to really have the will to eat anything, I probably want to smoke something, develop an appetite.
Yeah.
You know, it mellows me out at the end of a workday. You're stressed. You're like trying to meet deadlines. You just come home and you just unwind.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like opening a can of fuck it.
Yeah, basically.
You know, it does. It takes the stress off.
Also, like I discovered weed a little later in life than most people would. You know, like I was already in my mid-20s when like I started like smoking.
Yeah.
And it completely like I wouldn't say changed my life, but like in the way of how I go about my day to day, like definitely.
Yeah, change you up. Yeah, because like for me, like I started smoking when I was 14. I also started drinking when I was 14. You know, and it was crazy because like I said, living out here, this is the suburbs. You know, majority like in my high school there was probably like 5 black people K through 12. You know, and there was only really 2 of us that were from out here. The other 3 people were relocated from different parts of the city because like they were part of Holy Family. So like being around white people, you become accustomed to, you know, putting on the face, you know, like at work, you know, like you're talking about at work, and I'm the same way. Like I've worked in customer service most of my life. Right now I work as a benefits analyst, and there's an office full of white people who, you know, when I go to, hey Matthew,
hey, what's going on?
And then after work, it's DJ Goodnight, yo, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know, so you have to learn how to balance between the two, and that's one of the things that I taught my kids. You know,
absolutely.
Like because you have to be able to work in and relate in the white world, because that's what it is. That's the way it is. You know, if you're going to get someplace.
I think it was W.E.B. Du Bois that spoke about that, the invisible veil that all black people seem to have, the ability to shift and move between worlds.
Yeah,
this isn't, it's nothing fake, you know, it's not us putting on airs just for the sake, but it's survival tactics. It's literally what it is. I've grown to acknowledge it as the years have gone by. It has its utility.
Yeah, definitely. But like I said, the marijuana high, systematic lows, that song, like, because that's the first thing you sent me. You know, so I'm listening to that's the first thing you sent me. I was like, oh shit, and honestly, I don't know what made me open it, because man, I get music sent to me.
I could imagine.
Left and right. Like I said, for years, you know, people send music to me, and most of the time, I'm like, I'm not gonna listen to this. I'm like, you know, but I think I was at work, and I wasn't busy, so I was like, okay, let me listen to this shit. And I listened to it, I was like, oh shit, you know. And I'm sitting there bobbing my head, and then like in my office, there's 12 people, 10 women, 2 guys.
Hey, that's a good ratio.
Yeah, and the owner, the guy that owns the company.
Right.
So they just hired, like for a while there, it was just me and all women, and they just hired a new guy, black dude, with locks.
Okay, hold it down.
You know, and he's like 24 years old. So
okay.
And it's funny because like we start talking because I mean we're automatically gonna relate.
Yeah.
You know, because of the atmosphere we're in. So we start talking about music and stuff like that, and like he's like, yeah, I'll record and stuff. And he's like, my brother's a rapper, and come to find out, I interviewed his brother. He sat in that seat right there.
Oh wow.
You know, and so I'm like, this is meant to be. You know, and then basically, I played his song. I played your song for him, and he was like, yo, dude's nice. You know, he was like, I put him on my level, on the level of my brother, because his brother goes by the name of Conscience.
Oh, okay.
You know, and like I said, he's a dope rapper. He's been doing stuff on locally for a while, but you know, from being in this business, it can be frustrating. You know, you can't really make that much money doing it locally, so he's off making money now. Right, so he sat it to the side. So now, me and his brother linked up, and he's like, man, I can get my brother back into this. You know, he's like, it's meant. He's like, there's no way that I just end up taking a job and somebody at my new job interviewed my brother for music. It's like, it's like meant to be. So you sending that to me was meant to be. And now we have to give a shout out to DJ Chevy, because
DJ Chevy.
That's who linked you to me.
Yep.
And it's just weird like that, because honestly, last year I had something similar happen. A friend of mine, Elizabeth Kibowitz, who books a lot of shows, met an artist by the name of Gallo. And he was like, you know, he's from the Poconos area. Born and raised in New York till like 11, 12 years old. So he sounds New York,
right? But
he was raised in the Poconos and recently relocated to this area. So he sent me his music, and I'm like, oh, this is dope. You know, I'm like, I can listen to it. Like I said with you, front to back, back to front. And that doesn't happen to me too often.
Right.
So I called him in. I'm like, let's sit down for an interview. We just sit down here chopping it up. And the name of the project was March 4th, which I had just done a show on March 4th, but he wasn't in it. But it was just coincidence.
Right.
You know? I'm like, things like that don't just happen. There's like reasons for it. So we do the interview and stuff, and he's like, you know, I usually perform with the DJ. It's like, you want to be my DJ? I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. You know, so, you know, we booked a couple shows here and there, and like we did a show in Erie at the arena up there for the NBA D League.
Oh wow.
Because like he's had music. He makes his own beats too, and he records other people. Okay. So he's had music placed with the NBA. He's had music placed on BET. So he's had a lot more exposure, and it was just nice to actually meet somebody who was really interested in their music, really passionate about it, and that was actually talented. You know, and it's happening to me again. You know.
Thank you.
Yeah. So like I said, it's just dope to see. And honestly, I think you guys are probably around the same age. Like you're early 30s.
Mhm.
Yeah, you guys are around, because he's just turned 34, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's just dope to see, and dope for this to happen to me, because like I said, I get so much music thrown at me, and I'm usually like, I'm like, really? I'm like, it's just, it all sounds the same. So, like I said, I'm just glad that I actually listened to it that day.
Thank you.
So
thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
On that note, let's play some more music.
Hell yeah.
Dev Structures, One Life Radio, let's go.
I got a couple of ducats in my pockets after paying bills. Fridge full, child support paid, the weed to chill. Been getting the chicken lately, gained a couple of pounds to eat. To put my family first, so my wardrobe be looking tight mistreated. We gon' fix that right now. But don't get like fucked up, my nigga, I ain't ballin' out. Hit my barber out on East Ohio Street just for the temple favor. What I got remain to get sharp with the razor blades, it's about $1.50. Hard to imagine, but the cost of living here was low. She losing bread in your region, considered a joke. And even so, a nigga still thrifty with it. I'm counting up every digit as if I listen to Macklemore. Looking down, I noticed that my Jordan's leaning. Oh, and even a nigga rap with it. Haven't had to do the shelters in a minute though. About to go and cop those brand new Levi's Relax Fit. Two pair, one black, one blue, just to switch it up quick. Top it off with a couple buttons. Flannel pattern, purple, green, blue, man. That's super clean. Don't need a sign of anything. Super Franklin to have your girl rapping my tank. Pussy like the winter wind, simple as a breeze. Cash short and everything but me out here super clean. Don't need the sign of anything. Under pressure, but I make some gold glisten and clean. Pussy like the winter wind, simple as a breeze. Can't rule everything, rules don't apply to me.
So what? I'll be coming down it. Your wife is fucking as a motherfucking car ticket. So what? I'll be coming down it. Your wife is fucking as a motherfucking car ticket.
Looking for a bomber jacket at the thrift store. Fucked around and found more. Triple double deal, $5 is still great day. I must say it's comparable to Ice Cubes. Mucho Frio, never touch the sea, no. See the wooden Jesus pieces, call me Jesus. Green flannel panel shirt, black leaders, cause I work shell toe. Right, you tell me I ain't smoking. Word to Black Moon, your girl's nostrils open. And over here with your Gucci belt on me, focus. You and your feelings cause you thinking you above the rim. LeBron James with the vicious black. I pop these kind of shots at niggas and they need a stylist. Niggas wild, no dirty nigga get behind them. No surprises that when they pull out on the stops, gets grinded to a halt. No funds left to splurge. You thinking that she gon' take you out, but you fed up already. Barely got breath for gas, but catching Yeezys early. And as the moments of me walking by faith, that night from Indiana Jones remind us you chose
yeah, super clean. Don't need a sign of anything. Super Franklin to have your girl rapping my tank. Pussy like the winter wind, simple as a breeze. Cash short and everything but me out here super clean. Don't need the sign of anything. Under pressure, but I make some gold glisten and clean. Pussy like the winter wind, simple as a breeze. Can't rule everything, rules don't apply to me.
So what? I'll be coming down it. Your wife is fucking as a motherfucking car ticket. So what? I'll be coming down it. Your wife is fucking as a motherfucking car ticket.
Dev Structures, super clean. I definitely can relate to that because, one, only tennis shoe I wear, shell toe Adidas.
Yeah.
I'm heavily influenced by Run DMC.
Okay.
And jeans, Levi's, all day.
Yeah.
Like every single pair of my jeans are Levi's. I got them in black, I got them in blue, I got them in gray. And then like I'll wear them till they get worn, and then I'll go buy a new pair of the same exact jeans.
And just replace them.
Yeah, and just replace them because that's what's comfortable to me.
Right.
You know, and like all I can appreciate it, like the designer stuff, and I mean like that's cool, but I can't picture paying like a couple $100 for a belt.
Not right now.
You know, not ever.
Man.
No, not ever.
If I was in a situation to where it would benefit me to do such, like there was some sort of sponsorship.
Oh yeah, then I could see it.
But for me to take my hard-earned money, like just with the mindset that I have right now, and to go spend that money on a belt or something, knowing I got babies, man. Like, I ain't trying to hear that. Like,
yeah. And then what you got to do though, if you spend money on a belt like that, you got to wear your clothes because you want to show your belt off. You got to tuck your hoodie in. I'm like, nah, that's not me.
Like,
you know?
One of the things that kind of inspired this song, and a lot of people are going to look at me crazy, is there's one song that I used to bump for like a long time. It was by Yellow Wolf when he first came out. It was a song called 50.
Okay.
Basically, the premise of it was, you know, remember the age of the 50 cent soda?
Yeah.
That's where it came from, basically, just the cost of living.
Yeah.
And I was really inspired by that song, man. Like, I used to love bumping that shit.
Yeah.
And it just made me think about, like, the times that we live in now and how all of a sudden, like all of these designer name brands are being pushed to niggas in the hood that can barely afford to pay their rent and they living up under their woman. And I'm thinking to myself, nigga, you trifling as hell if you go out your way and, you know, put on some hyper expensive shit and your baby's just doing without, like, I couldn't be that person. My conscience was way too heavy on me, you know? So it's not as if I can't afford to get fly. It's just, it's just not an option to me right now.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, to me, that's super clean. If I got some shells, I got some jeans, and honestly, that's my wife considers that my uniform. You know, she's like that's your uniform. She's like, you got some shells, you got some jeans, and either a hoodie or an Adidas jacket, like an Adidas jacket, and my hat turned to the back. That's my uniform.
And like what people like fail to realize is that a lot of that stuff, when you add it up, it doesn't cost that much money. Like you could put whole outfits together without having to break your back to go chase down the newest XYZ. Like it's not necessary. Too many people live beyond their means and put on airs for social media shit, and it's just like, I don't care. Like if you're cool, you can be dusty as hell and be cool. Like you're always gonna be that same cool homeboy to me. You know what I mean? Nothing's gonna change. So that's just how I keep it.
No doubt. Like I said, I was definitely feeling it. I don't know if it was in there where you were talking about got the new Yeezys.
Oh yeah.
And don't got gas in the car. I'm like, I see people like that all the time. I'm like, dog, like you need to borrow some money from me to put gas in your car, but you got $300 pair of Jordans on.
Ain't nobody trying to hear that.
Yeah, I'm like, no, you can't. No, I can't support that. You know.
So that's where that was coming from.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, like I said, I definitely see it, and I know that living in Northview that you see it more often than not, because you can see a brother that'll have a BMW on with some rims or a truck with some rims on it sitting outside in the projects.
Believe it or not, you see less of those nowadays. You see more niggas wearing Balmains getting on a bus. I can't make this shit up, guys. I'm telling you, this is real life. This is what people are going through. People decided at one point that having a little whip to get from A to B meant less than wearing these jeans, you know? So I don't know. Times have changed. Every now and then you'll see a dope boy whip here or there, but they're few and far in between.
Now they spend all their money on the gear.
That's where it all goes.
No doubt. Let me Dan, this is Dev. That's Dan. Dev Structures. One Up Radio.
Gave up on life goals that weren't dreams. Roughly around the time that I taught reminiscence in my name. All to go to class teachings weren't based in reality. Went and served my country, but they say what has it ever done for me? I can't recall a thing. My memory is hazy, but such is the fog of marijuana. Difficult to recall the things that I wanted. A log on the river, my seal said I was gonna drift aimlessly. Believe him, he had done it. You here for some scholarship money, just know you frontin'. You can call on the M16, PT like nothing. Know you truly happy though. I don't think your words are shit like your focus disturbing. I don't think this is your purpose, and so that log drifts. Yeah, you could be a rapper or whatever, son. I don't give a shit. Right then and there, I'm pretty sure I started to despise him. Only black officer candidate that left and went and picked up rhyming. And that was just to spite him. Wanted to be like him, now I'm drifting. Coasting, just floating like a real direction. Real focus, drift with emotion, automatic and neutral. Ain't skirting the photo, steering wheel like they potent, like in direction. Real focus, drift with emotion, just drifting, coasting. Hit the bed, drifting, coasting, just floating, drifting, coasting. Hit the bed, drifting, coasting, drift with emotion. 2 years later and I'm on the block hole. Associated signs, but I lost my job though. 17 an hour wasn't much, but it was dope. Made dumb decisions with my dick and now middleman and dope in them Sandusky hallways, drinking the piss and crack smoke. feeding off of the loss. Puppet radio head, feeding depression. Eating secretarial pussy came at a cost. When pussy wipe me down, think about her husband's leather car seats. I was built, it was Lewinsky stress. He called me upset, saying I should watch her back, was risking my freedom every night. Ain't seen her once yet. Politicking with the niggas in the back, where the snaps congregate. I was being schooled in facts. Let's see, life is filled with sharks, crabs, and pufferfish. Lacking poison and claims they give you dirty dick. Watching who you smoke, you cool it, who you serving shit. Pump if you got it, but know that you ain't meant for this. Hell nah, fam, we all see you higher. Prior to this life you living, what did you aspire? Niggas thought I was a mystery, an anomaly. I was simply a man fleeing defeat. Because it seems I run this great race of faith and belief. Get sidetracked, falling pits and wailing grief. Hell on earth for me. Every day gnash my teeth. A short fool in this world I'm supposed to be. And so the lie drifts. He said be a rapper or whatever, son, I don't give a shit. Right then and there, I'm pretty sure I focused on survival. Young lost black man up in the world when they picked up rhyming. And that was just a spider. Wanted to be like them, now I'm drifting. Coasting, just floating like a real direction. Real focus, drift with emotion, automatic and neutral. Ain't skirting the photo, steering wheel like they know it, like in direction. Real focus, drift with emotion, just drifting, coasting. Hit the bed, drifting, coasting, just floating, drifting, coasting. Hit the bed, drifting, coasting, drift with emotion. Currently a year in unemployment. Had a couple of jobs that ain't enjoying. People constantly distracted by my pigmentation, won't employ them. If I go back to the army, then it's special forces. I can very well lose my existence. Play by nightmares, I think the medication caused them. Stack like Tetris with describe my problems. Sober for months while exploring options. Dodging charity while seeking profit. The lie continues to drift. Facing rapids into my current, lets me shift. From swaying in the river water that we all call life. From common quiet to deadly crashing with all its might, I'm riding the wave. Mode on indifferent unless I'm getting paid. Something inside me feel like something's missing. But this turn's coming up, you're left in neutral. All this time I was just drifting. Coasting, just floating like a real direction. Real focus, drift with emotion, automatic and neutral. Ain't skirting the photo, steering wheel like they know it, like in direction. Real focus, drift with emotion, just drifting, coasting. Hit the bed, drifting, coasting, just floating, drifting, coasting. Hit the bed, drifting, coasting, drift with emotion.
Driftwood, Dev Structures, One Out Radio, DJ Goodnight. So, Driftwood, tell me about it.
I was messing around with a loop. This was, I guess as of this point, I was trying to veer away from samples. In Super Clean, I ended up using Barry White's "Playing Your Game," baby, along with Biggie Smalls' "The What" featuring Method Man.
Yeah.
But like I wanted to kind of veer away from samples because I was thinking, well, at one point I want to monetize my music. I want to figure out how to do that. And reading along, you find out, hey, if you do certain things without getting cleared, somebody may press you over it. That's like,
yeah.
So I just started messing with this site called Looperman. They have a lot of loops that vary in the amount of seconds, anywhere from 2 to like 27.
Yeah.
And you can take that loop and sample that loop without getting sued.
Okay.
You can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
And it's an entire community of people that do this. So I heard this loop that somebody made for Drake.
Okay.
And I took it and I turned the pitch down on it, and it changed the vibe of it entirely. And I just started adding components to this instrumental, and I don't know, like, I guess I catch a vibe and I just start going. I literally stopped while it was still a loop and just started writing to it.
Yeah.
And started composing both at the same time, like writing and doing the production, like pausing here or there.
Yeah.
And it was just about my life and how things led up to this point, you know?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's really what that is.
Right. Yeah, like I said, it's definitely dope. The one thing about Driftwood, it reminded me of there's an artist in Pittsburgh who goes by the name of Otis Driftwood.
Okay. I've heard of him. I'm friends with him on Facebook too.
Yeah, and he's super dope. Like, he was one of the first people I actually interviewed in here.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny because like when I first got this spot, like none of this was in here. Like, booth wasn't built. We might have had like a couple tables and a couple chairs, and we just came in, and what I called it was after hours at One Live Studio. So I sat down, I interviewed him. I interviewed a producer by the name of J-Pad.
J-Pad the Juggernaut.
Yeah, J-Pad the Juggernaut. Another guy by the name of John Basement. And I forget who else. Oh, actually, my little cousin, True Live, Wesley.
Oh, okay.
So we sat and we interviewed, and it's just like, like I said, as soon as I heard Driftwood, his name came to mind, and like his music, like y'all could work on a project together and it would work.
Okay.
Yeah, it would work.
I've never shied away. That's the one thing I don't want to say now. Like, I've never shied away from working with anybody in the city, but I can't necessarily say if the shoe fits on the other foot the same way.
Yeah, it might not. Yeah, you never
can
know.
never tell with people.
Yeah, you never know. It might not.
So,
But he's definitely like somebody that he's an artist. He teaches art, and like he actually makes money from his music. So even if you don't work together, he would be someone that I would suggest just talking to try to pick his brain, because like this year he actually toured Brazil.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Yeah, because like you would never think like Wiz he did a big show in Brazil, but you would never think somebody on a local level would actually get booked to do a show in another country, a Spanish-speaking country.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I mean,
I would love to take advantage of opportunities like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Like my door is always open. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and plus you do production too, so you might not relate on something where y'all collab on something, but he might fuck with one of your beats and shit. You never know.
I'm always cool with bartering too.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah.
Like
no doubt.
I'm always trying to work.
Word.
Always.
Definitely. Well, give everybody your social media and everything, like how to get in contact with you. I'm going to download Inhale Exhale because I want to play that too.
Okay.
So just talk to the camera for a minute.
All right. I would say if you're really interested in checking my stuff out, you can follow me on Twitter. The little @ thingy, Dev Structures. So you spell it like you would the building. Also, Instagram is the same way, Dev Structures. I suppose if you wanted to be like extracurricular and join this circle of artists that all follow each other on Facebook, you could follow me. My name's Christian Devereaux. Outside of that, my SoundCloud, it's soundcloud.com/devstructures. Like, I've kept this really linear, so you should be able to find me relatively easy, I hope. Beware of Google search though. If you do try and do that, you'll get a lot of YouTube stuff about technical jargon, developmental structures. It's like, it's either you run into me or you run into a bunch of like stuff on how to put like servers together. So you can't really miss me. I appreciate every listen, every like, every follow, because believe me, I don't get much of them. All of them are organic. They're literally from people who have listened to before. So it's not much, but it means a lot to me. And if you in turn would, click the like button or subscribe or even listen to them, that'd be appreciated. On my SoundCloud, I believe there is roughly 9 or 10 instrumentals that I left up there that I did the production on. They're free for use, or you can do whatever you want with them as long as I get some type of credit, produced by. That's really all I can say in regards to that. Don't be a stranger. My door is always open. I joke a lot on the internet throughout the day, just like cute animal videos and like silly slapstick stuff, just to kind of keep my mind going by. But I'm always willing to talk about music if you have the time to talk and in exchange hear me out a bit.
Right, no doubt. You said you got kids?
Yes, I do.
How many kids?
3 boys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 3 boys. My oldest turns 13 this year.
Really?
Yeah, he's with my baby mom's. I met her while I was in the Air Force. But other than that, I have 2 boys that live with me. My sons Logan and Eli. They're still on the younger side.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I got 4 kids. I got 2 boys, 2 girls.
Okay, you got an even spread.
Yeah.
That's what I was aiming for. I don't know what the hell wrong with me. It just didn't work out like that.
Yeah, but like my youngest is 19.
Oh
so,
wow.
Yeah, so I got no kids at home anymore.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, my youngest goes to West Virginia. Well, I mean he's home now, but even when he comes home, he stays with my parents.
Oh, okay.
My oldest is 23. I'm lucky because like right now, all of them are in college.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
I know
you.
that's a really, really big like achievement.
Yeah. I've been and like I started like this spot is next month it'll be 2 years old.
Okay.
And I started it with anticipating that by the time I turn 50, which is at this point is 2 years now, that I can stop working for other people and just do this. I need to maintain a job while everybody's in school, their benefits and stuff.
Right.
So, but I figure if I start doing both, that by the time everybody's out of school, that I can just do this, and then they can start paying me back. We're like, you got a job? Okay, put Dad on your benefits.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That type of stuff.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, everybody goes through like bumps and delays and stuff like that.
Definitely.
So I mean, we'll see if everybody graduates on time. Right now, my oldest daughter is scheduled to graduate next year, but she's going to stay another year because the school she goes to has a master's program, a 1-year master's program.
That is worth pursuing. That is worth taking advantage of. Absolutely.
And then she's gonna actually go from there, from the master's program to NYU to graduate school.
Oh wow! I always wanted to go to NYU. That was one of the schools I was looking at. NYU and Cornell.
Yeah. Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's funny because like she originally started going. She started at Duquesne, and then she met somebody at Duquesne, like a friend of hers. Like it was her matter of fact, it was her roommate, and her roommate was from Long Island, New York.
Really?
So she went up to visit with her friend or with her roommate, and she was just telling her about a local school there called Stony Brook. So she started researching it and stuff, and she found out that Stony Brook has the 1-year master's degree program, and she was finding out that Duquesne had changed their program because she's studying psychology.
Oh, okay.
And she's finding that Duquesne changed their program where, like, her degree is going to be obsolete by the time she graduates.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she was like, she's like, I'm transferring.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Especially considering her concentration, you have to gain additional levels of schooling past your bachelorette in order for it to be viable.
So it was just funny though, because like one of the schools she had originally got accepted for was St. John's.
Really?
Yeah. And she wasn't ready to move. She wasn't ready to move from home yet, though, as a freshman. Because I was like, St. John's. I'm like, you know who went to St. John's? J. Cole went to St. John's because she loves music. Like all my kids love music and stuff, and she loves J. Cole. I was like, J. Cole went to St. John's. She's like, she just wasn't ready to go move from home yet, But now, after 2 years, like she was going into her junior year when she transferred to Stony Brook, and now she loves New York and she probably won't move back here. She'll come back to visit, but I'm like, I can't hate because I love New York too. Like, we got, like my wife has family up there, so like she wasn't able to make it home for Christmas, but she was at her cousin's house.
Yeah, I have family there myself. I was born in New York.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
What part?
Bronx.
The Bronx?
Mm-hmm.
Oh okay.
That's Bronx, New York.
That's dope.
So like the majority of my family are from Jamaica. They migrated over and they're in New York, New Jersey predominantly.
Yeah.
A couple in North Carolina. But yeah, I think we might even have some people in Florida. I think I have people in Florida too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on my father's side.
Okay. Yeah, that's crazy because, like I said, I mean, I've always been.
Where did that come from?
I just downloaded it. We'll introduce that in a second. But,
it was like lightning struck out of nowhere. Like, oh.
So, like I said, I've always loved New York, and then when me and my wife got together, she was like, "Yeah, we got family in New York." So I encouraged her to contact her family in New York, and we would end up going up to stay with her one cousin who lived in a brownstone in Brooklyn, and like his grandparents lived in like on the first floor, like actually the basement floor.
Oh, okay.
Because they couldn't get up and down the steps. So second, third floor was empty, and he lived on the fourth floor. So we would come, and we could stay for like a couple weeks, and we'd bring the kids, and we would just hang out in Brooklyn like
That's
half
amazing.
the summer, you know. And then he was into entertainment, so he knew I was a DJ, so like he booked me a couple gigs up there. So
That's
I
what's up.
would be able to end up staying a little longer because I had money coming in,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So like I said, I've always loved New York, always, you know. So
Like with me, New York is always a dope spot to show up. Like when I'm by myself. Like, I remember a couple of years ago, and this is probably like one of the last things I did before I kind of put music down for a little bit. I went to a producer battle through Hot 97.
oh, okay.
And this is when I was first messing with FL. You like, I don't know what it is. You do a couple complicated hi-hat patterns, and all of a sudden your ego kind of makes you think, oh yeah, I can get it in.
I can rock with Timberlake and Drake.
Man, listen. They had Papoose in the building as one of the guest artists, as one of the guest judges. Yeah, I got practically rushed off that stage. It took me 11 hours to get on the megabus to drive up to New York, and within a matter of like, I would say 90 seconds, I got brushed off that stage. The guest like made fun of me and said I looked like a convict that just got out of jail. Papoose was like, yeah, I like your patterns and stuff, but your mixing levels is shit. And you gotta reevaluate that. And it was just like, it was a crushing blow, you know what I mean? Because you got a whole 11 hours to ride back and just think about what you did with your life.
Yeah.
The only bonus to that trip at all was that I hit the casino and won a couple $100.
Oh, okay.
So at least I wasn't going back home
broke.
Yeah, broke in mind and in pockets. You know what I'm saying? Like, luckily enough. But those were the last little things I did up there in terms of music.
Yeah.
Like, my experience.
Watch me escape, but I know myself today. Can't feel a thing. Such apathy, such indifference, lack of interest. Losing yourself and concern. There's so much pain that I blaze away. Try to put up a backward. Did the shit because it's trendy. Do this a bit backward. Took my ass back to Swish's blueberry. I roll up. Used to smoke the Juicy J's and pina colada flavor. But that was way back when I was growing. Nowadays I got a fam. Demoted to middleman. I stay with 250, 15. That's only available. Even I got a couple of funds. Recouping and I re-up. But the status quo. Yeah, do my dirt alone. I've been on my Dolo. I'm in the Honda. 2013 I worked hard and I sacrificed, but it ain't enough. Expectations too high, aspirations too low. Said I'm kind of the girls, cause I be heading the cloud. Forever be struggling. Reminiscence, I think I'm psychic. I'm moving objects to return. Got me shopping now, baby. We flow, cause he feels he's getting paid. Every dollar spent has got a purpose. Fuck around me, just the budget for the insurance. You fucking expensive, talking with health. I've been cooling into college, then said I'm dodging for that bullshit, but I need you nervous with that medication in the front pocket. To put back on my back at all times and turn the student. I'ma twist, I'ma run away, I'ma get back. It ain't often I get tired of self, don't wanna self-reflect on my mistakes. Just let me get straight. Twisted body like a lemon, smoking isolation on a steady pleasure. Watch me escape. Think I know myself today, can't feel a thing. Such apathy, such indifference, lack of interest. Enthusiasm and concern, there's so much pain that I blaze away. Burdens on my soul, hold up, let me recover them. These memories I've lost, I've let go so many of them. Swear it's so hard to recall things that went wrong. So much had gone wrong. Won't I get so lost? Is it entirely my fault? If I take the weight off of my shoulders, let me roll up. Roll one, even if I float away, don't try to catch me. Float on, even if I got it 10 seconds, don't match me. Smoke up, everybody come get it. GG's sticky, I got 5 on it. Say nah, I got 50, bitch, get rich and die trying. We gon' roll us up in Navy, going in and out my mind. Marijuana seems so easy, make me wanna drop his ass. But they cheap it, that's the price is legalize it, man, legalize it. Shit that's legal, make my body ache, make my stomach hurt. You tryna regulate it, people out here having seizures, people fighting off the pressure. People can barely finish a sentence, people can barely pick up a meal. We need to chill, light off a couple pounds, barely can see it from me. I'm with the Martians now, whatever causes it, Uzi, hold it down. I begin to because my feelings always hold me down. Inhale, exhale, watch me escape. Think I'll numb myself today, can't feel a thing. Such apathy, such indifference, lack of interest. Enthusiasm and concern, there's so much pain that I blaze away.
One Live Radio, DJ Goodnights, Dev Structures, Inhale, Exhale, One Live Radio. Appreciate you coming through, fam.
Thank you for having me.